Hey Fire FC family, thank you for listening. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when and where that is. Thank you for joining us for this month's Alum Spotlight. And this month I have J.R. Davis joining us. So J.R., without me spilling out too many details, why don't you just give everyone a quick intro of the fact that you're an alum, so when you played, position, and some of that fun stuff.
All right, I'm J.R. Davis. I never played for Fire FC because it didn't exist yet. I played for the GMYSA Youth Soccer Association, or GMYSA for short, and that was back in the 80s into the 90s, and then I left for college in the year 2000. Born and raised in Grand Junction, Colorado, left, came back, and I find myself back in Grand Junction now.
Okay, so without fast forwarding all the way into now, recollecting back on the club days, position-wise, coaches, what sticks out?
Peter Hummendinger. Honestly, that you asked that question.
Yeah.
At the club level, after we got from rec into the club level of play, some great coaches like Peter Hummendinger, who was a former director and coach of the club. Guy like Travis McCorkle also.
Yeah. He's at Angelo State. Coaching the women, so shout out to Travis.
Once upon a time, I totally wanted his hairdo. An excellent hair, and just the great coaching by guys like them. I mean, lots of travel, but on the club side of things, we had one trip to the USA Cup in Minneapolis, Minnesota. What a great place to go as a freshman in high school.
But then think about some of the other experiences you had, because nowadays we have the academy set up, right? On the girls' side, you have the ECNL and the GA. On the boys' setup, you have the MLS Next. But before those even existed, you were a part of the ODP program, so that was more catered to players that today would be involved in those MLS Next programs and those ECNL GA programs. But ODP was the upper echelon. And you were able to break into that as a Grand Junction kid into the Denver market, were you not?
Yeah, and that's where Peter Hummendinger comes in as key. The state of Colorado had 4 districts, and we were in the Western District, and Peter was the coach for my age group, and I'm thankful for him to recommend me up to be on the state team, not just the district side of things. But we had I guess an annual district tournament over in Denver. It was essentially a tryout to be on the ODP team, and then at some point in time I got the call up to be on the state team, do some training with them, and it's a little bit of a different game coming from Grand Junction going over to the big city.
Do you remember anything specific that you're just like, wow, this is different? Was it the speed of play? Was it the technical ability of players? Was it mixed bag?
3 things. Number 1, speed of play was way faster. 2, the technical ability was way better. And 3, the physicality.
Okay.
It was definitely a more physical game. I would say after training with the ODP team over in Denver for just a half a year, and then coming back to Grand Junction to play high school, I think I got some more penalties called on, or fouls called on me. It was a little bit, it was a little frustrating because I couldn't play as physically as I had been.
And speak to what position you played as well. Like, did you play the same position in both club and the ODP levels, or did you have to change?
As I'm sure a lot of the players know, they switch positions all the time depending on the team that they're on. But at the club level, it was more of an attacking center midfielder or a striker. Then kind of a shock a little bit to me was when I got to the ODP level, they put me back at left back, which actually I love because our system was, you kind of played as an attacking left back, which was fine. But it was kind of a shock. I felt like it was a demotion, but in retrospect, it wasn't. The coach, a different Peter McGahey, I think he's now a professor at Western Virginia.
Okay.
He's a super smart guy, but philosophy of playing that I hadn't been exposed to before. But being technically strong was kind of a requirement to be on the back line because we only had three backs. We were playing with a back three.
Okay. Sweet. And then from a ODP standpoint, you also had the opportunity to travel, and you even went from the state team to a regional group. Is that right?
Yeah. So again, people are probably familiar with this. There's regional camps. Each state sends their state team to the regional camp, and that's basically a tryout for the regional team, and that funnels into the national squad. So I was invited to go to the regional camp up in, I think it was in Boise, Idaho that year. And what a shock. Those Northern and Southern California teams, they were even faster, even more technically sound. But yeah, I got called up there. We had the Colorado team, and then I was kind of one of the three extra Colorado players who kind of got put on a conglomerate team. But that was a great experience at the regional camp, seeing a high level of play, and playing against the one game that sticks out is played against Hawaii. So it was good times.
Yeah, and you saw yourself go abroad with that group?
Yeah, and straight after regional camp, they took a group of us over to where did we land? Oh yeah, we landed in Amsterdam. I remember that because there were guards there with machine guns right after we got off in the airplane. Something about international customs and things like that. But yeah, we got there, played in Amsterdam, had another tournament in somewhere in Belgium, and it was a great time. The football pitches over there were much super amazing. More like golf fairways here than like any other thing I've ever seen.
Fair enough. And then, so that's what, middle school ages or into high school?
That was high school,
okay.
Right when I was 16.
Okay, and then you were a part of what alum growing up in Western Colorado? Wildcat, Tiger?
Oh, I went to Fruita Monument.
Yeah, fair enough.
Monument. Graduated in 2000.
Okay, so you graduate, you had the opportunity to be on an all-regional team, and then college comes. Decision is what as a student athlete in high school and making that shift into college?
College came, life circumstances were what they were, had a tough decision to make. I ended up electing to just go the purely academic route. Life is life, and that said, I was able to take full advantage of the intramural programs.
Where at? In-state, out-of-state?
At the University of Denver. And frankly, I went there because I wanted an opportunity to play Division One. I didn't want to play Division Two or Division Three. In retrospect, maybe that would, I would say with more wisdom now, maybe I should have considered more Division Two schools. But sometimes 18-year-olds think a certain way, and you don't know what you don't know until you turn 40-something years old. So I went to DU with the idea of maybe I did want to play. I did have some time actually playing spring ball one year with the group, and actually 6 of my teammates from the ODP team ended up playing for DU.
Okay.
So it wasn't like it was like not a. It's not like it was not a possibility. It was
sure.
just if you don't have that that academic scholarship, that if you don't have that athletic scholarship and you have to pay for books and stuff, that's
sure.
That plays into the mix of decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. And in addition to that, you went to DU for what?
Oh, I went in as an English major, thinking I might want to do high school teaching of English. I came out though having a bachelor's degree in finance and real estate and a bachelor's degree in public policy.
Okay. And fast forward a few more years, and now you went away after high school. You find yourself back in Junction, in the city you grew up in, that so many high school age players that are potentially watching this saying, I'm getting out of here, no ands, ifs, or buts about it. How and why did you end up back in the place that at one time you're just like, I need to leave?
Well, first of all, definitely get out of here. Go experience the world. Go see what else is out there. It's only then that you might actually get an appreciation for what we have here in Grand Junction. So I did end up back here. After my undergrad, I took a year off, and then I went to law school. That took another 3 years. So after a total of 9 years away, I came back. It was one of those moments where do I want to end up being a lawyer? Where do I want to practice? And do I want to be in the big city? Do I want to go back to Denver? Do I want to stay in California? And it was a quality of life decision for me. And so coming back here and not having to wait more than one cycle through the stoplight was a huge selling point. And also coming back and being only a 5 or 10 minute drive from a hike was super important.
Okay. And before we get into what you're doing now, do you still find yourself playing, out of curiosity, as a Fire FC alum, or are you fully hung up the boots?
Well, up until the last 6 months, still playing. There might have been one game where, I feel sorry for my opponent. I don't know if I was tired or I'm just losing that reflex. That's in limbo right now.
Okay.
Whether or not I should continue playing at the competitive level, or at 42 I might just need to stick with the over 40 league. I guess to answer your question, yes, I'm still playing.
Yeah.
It's just in which
Right.
league. That said, I do coach both of my daughter's teams, so I'm still able to rip it up against the 4 and 8 year olds.
Nice. And you serve on the board?
And I serve on the board for the soccer club.
Yeah. So I think that's just a really neat reality for JR. He's found himself growing up in this town, playing for the club, went away, came back, and is still finding his foot in the door in so many ways, as a player, as a coach, as a board member, and giving back to the club that, like you said, it didn't even exist technically as Fire FC, but that's what we know it as today. So let's now get into, what are you doing? You're an alum. You've been there, done that at the soccer club. What's your bread and butter these days?
Well, my 8 to 5. It's not just 8 to 5, but I'm a lawyer and I own the Davis Law Group.
Okay.
So I manage some other attorneys and some admin, and we do the law thing, and that keeps me pretty busy. Outside of that, besides helping out with the soccer club, I also am on the board of directors for the Juniper Ridge Community School. So between those 3 things and my family, most importantly, I'm busy.
Yep. Can you be a little bit more specific? Maybe we're speaking to the young adult or the parent watching or listening to this one. Davis Law Group does what, without me having to go to Google?
Oh, Davis Law Group, we do real estate, probate, estate planning, and a little bit of business work.
Okay. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in on this month's Alum Spotlight. Hope you have some kind of takeaway in this one. I think there's a lot of nuggets for whether, again, you're that prospective student athlete, and just things to think through, things to think about, things to have a conversation about with that parent, that friend. So until next month, this is this month. Thanks for tuning in.